How to stop your phone stealing your time and attention. Reclaim your focus and use your phone with intention rather than compulsion. This is the 10th edition of my How to Flourish newsletter. You can read it on Substack and LinkedIn, and it's also available just to listen to as an audio file on those pages. The highlights of this newsletter are, first, why it's important to change how we use our phones, and second, 9 steps you can take today to turn your smartphone from a source of distraction into a tool for improving your life. It has never been harder to focus. The main source of distraction today is smartphones. Our two most valuable resources are time and attention. We spend a huge amount of time on our phones, and technology has changed how we use our attention. Recent data show that the average person spends over 4.5 hours a day on their phone. That's over 32 hours a week, which amounts to over 70 days a year. That means that in 5 years' time, the average person will have spent almost an entire year of those 5 on their phone. Let's say the average person starts using a phone when they're 18 years old. By the time they're 70, they'll have spent over 10 years on their phone. Now, these statistics don't break down the many ways we use our phones. Some people spend hours every week on FaceTime with loved ones or learning a language on Duolingo. Those are great ways to use technology. But many hours in these stats are from people wasting their time and feeling bad afterwards, doing things like doom scrolling. Our attention span when doing computer-based work has shrunk massively in recent years. As of 2023, studies had found that an office worker would spend on average only 47 seconds doing a computer-based task before switching attention. Less than 20 years earlier, the amount of time before switching was over 100 seconds longer. The good news is that the problem and solution is within our control. One of the most common reasons we switch attention is self-distraction. Research has discovered that when we're interrupted while working on our computers, the source of the interruption is almost as likely to be ourselves as it is to be someone or something else. We've built a tendency to check our phones, emails, social media, and so on, even when no notification pops up. These studies and others suggest that we built some bad habits in our relationship with technology, but we can break these habits. The following 9 steps help you break these and replace them with good ones, so you can just use your smartphone in a way that improves your life. For a discussion of the points I've just made about attention spans, self-distraction, and technology, see my conversation with attention expert Dr. Gloria Mark on my podcast, Flourish FM, which is linked in this blog. Create friction between you and your phone. Breaking a habit requires creating friction between you and the habit. Creating friction involves 2 key factors: distance and obstacles. The first 4 steps I'm about to describe create distance and obstacles between you and your smartphone. Step 1, get a dumb phone. Dumb phones, mobile phones without smart features like apps and cameras, are back in fashion. They perform little other than the 2 functions that mobile phones did when they were first invented: calls and texts. Get one along with a second SIM card to put in it. Give your dumb phone number only to the most important people in your life who might need to contact you anytime: family, partner, closest friends, boss, and so on. Now, this won't be your only phone, but it'll be the only one you use when you want to avoid distraction. If, like me, you focus best in the morning, you could just have your dumb phone during mornings and have your smartphone during afternoons. Now, you probably still own dumb phones. My sister and I cleared out our parents' attic recently and found about 10 of them, and we're now using the ones that still work. So we've used the ones that work well, and we've got backup phones now for when they inevitably break. If you need to buy a dumb phone, I've included a link on a recent article on the best ones that are currently recommended to get. Now, there might be apps that you need access to all the time. For example, some schools use WhatsApp communities to send parents important updates. If there's an app you need access to, download it onto your computer. For example, WhatsApp. Now, this isn't ideal, but it's less bad than having your computer and your smartphone available as sources of distraction. All right, step 2, put your phone in a different room. Even if you get a dumb phone, when you need to focus, put your smartphone in a different room. Research shows that our performance improves when we do this. In 2 experiments, people completed tasks measuring their cognitive performance in reasoning, problem solving, maths, and memorizing. One group had their phones face down on their desks. Another had their phones in a different room. All notifications were turned off. The group who had their phones in a different room performed significantly better than the group who had their phones on their desks. The negative impact on performance for those with their phones on their desks was similar to the effects of being sleep deprived. The researchers even found similar results when phones were switched off. People still performed better when their phones were in a different room than on their desk, even though they were off. The conclusion from this study and others is that when our phones are within our visual sphere, they pull on our attention. This takes up working memory capacity, contributing to cognitive load, the information processing or cognitive effort required to perform a task. If our cognitive load becomes too high, we restrict our capacity to process more information or learn anything new. The pull on our attention from seeing our phones, even if they're off, takes up working memory, leaving less available to focus. Even if you've got a dumb phone, ideally also leave this in another room. If you need it closer in case you need to be contacted, keep it out of sight, like in your bag. Don't keep it within your visual field. While dumb phones weren't used in this study, let's just do that to be safe in case using those also pulls on our attention. Okay, it can't hurt you to put it in your bag instead. You can still hear it if it goes off. Now, even better than putting your smartphone in a different room is putting it in another building. I often put my smartphone in a gym locker in the building next door, actually next door to the building I'm in right now, to my co-working space, which is where I am right now, right? Now, it would take me at least 5 minutes to walk next door and get my phone, which is enough friction to prevent me doing it. There's enough friction to prevent me even thinking about doing it. And that's the point here, right? We're creating friction and obstacles to prevent us from being distracted. Now, you could also leave your smartphone at home, for example, when you go to the office, and just take your dumb phone with you. All right, step 3, lend your phone to someone else. If you find that when your phone is in a different room, you're still tempted to check it, try lending it to someone you trust when you're trying to focus. Ask them to ask you this simple question when you ask for it back. Are you sure? It quickly becomes embarrassing asking for your phone back when you lent it out to someone else to avoid distraction. Not only are you now having to face up to your lack of willpower, but now you're also distracting someone else. The excuse of, but it's an emergency, shouldn't come up if you've got yourself a dumb phone. All right, step 4, get a case safe. Better than lending out your smartphone is getting a case safe, a time-locked, thick plastic box you can lock your phone in for a set amount of time, ranging from several seconds to 10 days. You can only get it out before the timer finishes by smashing it open. If you get a case safe, keep the case safe containing your phone out of sight, ideally in a different room. Even though case safes weren't used in the study I described above, where phones were put in a different room, we can infer that seeing your phone in the case safe while you try to focus might pull on your attention in a similar way to the phone being on your desk. Okay, so those are the first 4 steps. Let's move on now to the next 5 steps, and these aim to make your phone less exciting. Okay, so the 4 steps so far create friction between you and your phone. Now let's look at how to make our phone less exciting to use. And this helps us overcome our compulsion to use them more than we need to. Step 5, purge your apps. Go through the apps on your phone and delete any that don't meet all 3 of the following criteria. First, overall, the app provides a net benefit to your life. For example, Google Maps helped you get around, but you don't stay up late at night using it. So the net benefit of having Google Maps on your phone is overall positive. Condition 2, the app needs to be on your phone. For example, Uber can't be used on your laptop if you want to use it to get home after a night out, all right, unless you take your laptop with you everywhere you go, which I'm certainly not recommending. Okay, so it needs to be on your phone for it to perform its role. And condition 3, you either use the app often, or if you don't use it often, it performs an important role. For example, a security app like an authenticator, which will give you a code to log in to certain websites. Now, an example of an app that meets that third condition, you either use the app often, or if you don't use it often, it performs an important role, but doesn't meet the first condition, that is, overall, the app provides a net benefit to your life, might be a social media app. While you sometimes enjoy using it, you also often regret using it. And if you consider whether it provides a net benefit to your life overall, the occasional late night doom scroll makes it overall a net negative. However, you might be able to turn this into a net positive if you instead occasionally use it on your laptop rather than on your phone. An example of an app that meets the third condition, which was you either use the app often, or if you don't use it often, it performs an important role. But it doesn't meet the second condition, that is, the app needs to be on your phone. It might be a streaming app like Netflix. But you might find that watching Netflix turns into a net positive once you delete the app from your phone and just do this on your laptop, but less often. Here's a foreseeable objection. What if you need to use an app occasionally, but it doesn't provide a net benefit to your life? Well, the solution here is easy. Delete the app and re-download it when you need to use it. For example, for posting on social media apps like Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts, re-download them, post, then delete them again. Think that takes too long? Well, it likely takes far less time than the amount you spend on those apps when you keep them on your phone. It takes less than a minute to download an app and log in over a decent Wi-Fi connection. Compare that to how long you spend scrolling when the app is constantly available. You can check this on the usage data on your phone. And these statistics have been tried and tested by me. When I post on Instagram, I download Instagram, post, and delete Instagram. Okay, and it takes me less than a minute to download the app, log in, and have access to it. All right, step 6, turn off all notifications. Do this for all notifications except the ones you need. Need here means that turning the notifications off makes your life more difficult. For example, keep notifications on for transport apps like Uber to avoid missing your driver when they arrive, and security apps like Find My in case an item gets stolen. Step 7, go grayscale. Try changing the color scheme on your phone to grayscale. This will make you want to look at your phone much less. Try that out and see how long you want to stay on Instagram now. I bet you'll often want to get straight off. That was my experience when I tried my phone on grayscale on Instagram. Step 8, make your background a single plain color. That photo of you on the beach with your partner and your dog captures a wonderful memory. So rather than it just sitting on your phone as wallpaper, why not print it, frame it, and put it in your home? Try a plain single color as your phone background instead. It'll make you want to look at your phone less. Finally, step 9, download an app blocker. There's a few excellent app blocking apps out there. One I highly recommend is Opal, which I use every day. This has functions such as blocking selected apps for periods of time and it has a daily time limit you can set for using apps that you select. So it's a cumulative time limit across several apps. It could be like 90 minutes across several apps, and then I'm blocked from using them. And you can also set a time limit for, say, WhatsApp. Can't access WhatsApp till midday every day. And you can turn it off if you want to. There's also a function where you can't turn it off. You can set levels of severity on there. You can take a break, but again, you can set levels of blockages in there depending on how much you want to regain access to it. It's a brilliant app and it's free. Highly recommend it. I've linked it in the blog. All right, the takeaway. We spend a huge amount of our two most important resources, time and attention, on our smartphones. We can put these resources to good or bad use. To only put these to good use on our smartphones, it helps to create friction between us and our smartphones and make our phones less exciting to use. The 9 steps I've described in this newsletter help to turn your smartphone from a source of distraction into a tool for improving your life. To learn more about how to focus and reach the highest level of focus, a flow state, join the Flow Lab, a free platform that I recently co-launched where we run masterclasses and share resources that we've built on flow states. You can join at the link below and at the link in this newsletter. Which digital distractions do you most struggle to overcome? Have you found any other methods or tools for avoiding digital distractions highly effective? I'd love to hear about your experiences in the comments below or any other thoughts you have about overcoming digital distractions. There's a list of recommended resources in the newsletter. Hope you've enjoyed this. Look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you for watching or listening or reading.